So, Air Riders is finally out, and it's clear that Sakurai and the teams at Bandai Namco were swinging for the fences with this game. There is a lot to do in the game, but the biggest surprise so far has been the introduction of this new mode, Road Trip. As soon as I started, I was hooked, and I didn't stop until I had completed everything. In doing so, I've learned a lot about this unique mode, so today we're going to talk about all the hidden details, best strategies, secret unlocks, and everything else I've learned. This video will contain spoilers, but not right away. I love Kirby Air Riders, and just like Sakurai, I want you, the player, to have the best possible experience. You are the only one who knows if spoilers will ruin anything for you, so I'll give you a heads up before I mention any kind of secret unlocks, hidden secrets, or I can't really be more specific without spoiling things, so there are some awesome reveals in the mode. Just keep your eyes and ears open for spoiler warnings. I'll give you timestamps and chapters if you want to skip, but after those warnings, I will be naming and showing gameplay that shows off everything. With that out of the way, let's get this road trip started. Let's first go over the structure and explain how you progress. Road Trip is a roadlike where you progress through stages by clearing various challenges and mini-bosses, you collect machines along the way, and defeat bosses at the end. After each stage boss, you unlock a cutscene that explains and progresses the story of where the machines came from and where they were going. It's a short story, but it's surprisingly compelling, enough for me to recommend everyone go play the mode themselves and enjoy it. If you just want the cutscenes, I will have them uploaded to my channel right now. I will not discuss the story or show any other further cutscenes for the rest of this video though. So, each stage is broken up by checkpoints, shops, abilities, and other events you can run into. As you progress, you'll be rewarded with stat upgrades that augment each of your various attributes, just like they do in City Trial. In each stage, you'll have to make a choice of what path to go down so that you can clear that current stage. Clearing 11 stages and the final boss took me about 4 hours, and then about a total of 10 hours to 100% the checklist. I did go in completely blind on day 1, but I'm also an experienced player, so your mileage may vary. Since that's really the majority of the mode, if you want to go in spoiler-free and experience the game without any outside info, now is the time to pause the video and go have fun. I'll see you later. But that's not everything I've learned about the mode. First, we'll go over a few things to pay attention to if you want to be more efficient and really not miss anything, starting with difficulty choice and stat priority. Now, I first played through on hard difficulty, and that is what I would definitely recommend to veteran air riders or just seasoned gamers in general. But I also enjoyed the normal and casual modes because the moment-to-moment experience of progressing is just really engaging, regardless of the difficulty. And this is the only unlock I'll spoil without much warning because I don't really think that an extra hard difficulty is a surprise to anyone, but yeah, if you clear the final boss on hard, you'll unlock extra hard difficulty. And on that, if you fail to clear a stadium, you have to restart from either the beginning of the stage or the halfway point, instead of each quarter being a checkpoint. Only on the hard difficulties do I recommend locking in and really paying attention to your stats a ton. When you start the mode, you'll probably feel like you're playing on half speed, but that's just how the mode is. You start off with really bad stats, even worse than just default. And at first I thought that was really annoying, but then on my second playthrough I realized it kind of went away quickly and was actually essential to the snowball-like power fantasy that all good roguelites have. And since beating this mode is meant to be casually approachable, your stats do ramp up quickly. It's really well paced. You probably don't need me to tell you, but your first priority is top speed. Unless there's something else you're lacking that you feel is a weak spot, you want to get top speed up as much as you can. Now, there will become a point where the game no longer feels slow and you can play normally. That's when I recommend getting as much offense and defense as you can alongside top speed. Offense and defense are both equally important, but the better you are at the game, the less defense you can get away with, and the more offense you can grab instead. However you get there, you really want a lot of both. These stats are extremely strong due to Air Riders' focus on combat, making it a one-size-fits-all key to almost every encounter. Sure, you could build maybe a wheelie scooter with high speed, turn and charge, so you could dominate races and corner easily, and that would work, and it's a lot of fun to do that. But you can also just pick any machine with good handling, such as a chariot. You load it up with offense and you just one-shot every other rider and instantly win the race before the first turn. You can clear most stadiums just by destroying the other riders. By the end, you won't even blink as you steamroll 4 Waddle Dees in a row. So those 3 are pretty obvious winners as far as stats go, but the rest of the stats can't be ignored either. There is a lot of variety in the kinds of challenges that they throw at you, and each one can have a variant that drastically changes how you need to play it. You know, you may be built for speed and turning or close quarters battles, but what if you get 3 gliding stadiums and just fall on your face? That kind of thing can happen, and it will happen if you don't make sure you keep at least a, decently well-rounded stat distribution. So keep everything even and then get spikes in the top 3 stats as you see fit. Now, that's just what I'd say is a generally safe strat. That's what I did for very hard and it felt pretty capable. But I do encourage you to experiment with other stat spreads just because it's so fun to have an idea and make it work. For example, in Air Ride 1, I didn't like the Rocket Star at all, but with its glow up in Air Ride 2 and some big spikes in charge, boost, and glide, it was a powerhouse. It was just a jack of all trades and carried me through the majority of my first playthrough. Seriously, this is what the mode was made for. That rush of city trial power-ups doesn't have to end after just one stadium, and you get the engaging, personalized progression of a well-paced roadlike. Build your own machine, make it your own journey, and then let me know how it went. I'd love to hear your ideas and test your builds. I know the community has already been getting super creative. One last thing to note about stats is that you always keep them. So let's say you get a few upgrades after an encounter, but you lose the next one and have to go back to a checkpoint. Well, you'll still keep the items you earned from winning, even if you failed later and had to go back. Now, don't tell anyone I told you this, but you can metagame this to farm certain stats. You can intentionally fail a challenge so that you can repeat a previous one and earn multiple stat boosts, but you didn't hear that from me. Let's talk about machines in this mode, because you don't start with all of them. They could show up as events along your path, marked by the warp star icon at set locations across various routes. You can also buy machines from shops if you missed any, so keep an eye out for those. I'm sure there will be a guide up somewhere on the internet of which route each machine is located in, so once I find a reliable source, I'll have that in the description for you. Either way, you'll still want to collect as many unique machines as you can, since that's part of checklist completion. With that knowledge under your belt, you're definitely ready to go take on the hard difficulties. But if you know Sakurai and his games, you'll know he loves his secrets and unlocks. So what about the hidden content? So this is where those of you who want to remain otherwise spoiler-free will likely want to part ways for now. There are no spoilers in the chapters, so skip to the outro if you want, and that's safe too. I'll give you a few seconds. But for those of you who want to see everything, let's get into it because there were some crazy moments I was really surprised by. I do think the last fights are worth experiencing for yourself, but man, when Dragoon and Hydra came back and we got to choose, oh, that was such an awesome moment. Then you feel so powerful taking down the boss, flying circles around it, it was so fun. But all of the bosses in the mode are great. Even on very hard, most of them only took me a try or two, but they can still be punishing if you get hit too much or don't have high defense. So if you want to make it easy on yourself, I found ranged items like missiles or charged fighter punches. They were really strong against most bosses. A good strategy is to just hold boost charge and stay in place as much as you can in order to stay in range for your attacks and dish out damage quickly. Obviously, you want to be in a kind of safe spot. A lot of times behind the boss is pretty strong. Burst damage or just doing damage very quickly is really important in this game due to the ever-present time limits. Now, obviously, if the boss is about to attack you, you gotta get out and dodge, but honestly, sometimes I would even take the damage in my high defense cars so I could stay by the boss and keep hitting them. That aggressive playstyle worked for me, but it also didn't work. It backfired quite a few times, and it took a lot of learning to figure out the best positioning. Still fun to do, but it's by far not the only viable strategy. I don't think the boss fights are really complex enough to warrant a full strategy guide, so with everything you've gotten from the video so far, you're gonna be fine. But for a final boss tip, the damage up boxing glove is really strong. I don't know the numbers or anything, but it seemed to almost double my damage, so be sure to put that to good use. Pay attention to the power-ups or machines you can get in the shop or on the road. Many times they'll be particularly good for the next challenge ahead of you. Many times the game gave me the chance to grab something like Winged or Paper Star, and I ignored it, and then my next set of challenges put me in target flight with a chariot. You know, don't be stubborn like me. Go with the flow and learn each machine's strengths. It's really a fun way to learn. Now for the unlocks. There are a lot of generic unlocks tied to the checklist, but the biggest ones are the 2 new legendary machines and the new character Noir DDD. You'll unlock them by completing the true ending once you collect every machine, and they're super fun to play as. The character seems like a pretty well-rounded one. They don't seem overpowered, just a super unique rider with an awesome look. At the same time, you'll also unlock the 2 new legendary machines, Leo and Gigantus. Now, if you could even call Leo a machine, it doesn't really feel right to call it that, but anyways, it has auto-attacking claws and the ability to jump like the Hop Star, but then it slams down and leaves damaging fire in its tracks. It also helps, it's incredibly fast and has great handling, so it's kinda crazy. I haven't pulled it in City Trial just yet, but you know what I did get? Yeah, I got turned into a boss? Hello? The Gigantus parts turning you into the boss was completely out of left field. There's no way anyone predicted you would take over a tank the size of a city block and become the boss fight. What an awesome addition. Air Riders just keeps on giving. Now for some smaller unlocks, after you get your first playthrough done, you'll get access to New Game Plus, where you can transfer your road trip credits and collected machines to a new file. If you're going into one just to go back and get the machines you missed, the difficulty doesn't matter. You can collect all machines and finish the true ending on any difficulty. I recommend making multiple save files as you approach branching paths so you can quickly go back and get everything. The boss fights you run into along the way against Marks, Sub-Zero 2, and others all become stadium events once you beat them. These boss fights are fantastic, and they'd be a blast to go through again in City Trial, so I can't wait to get back in. Now, aside from a few other riders or their color variants if you already have them from a different mode, that's really it for major unlocks. There are some worthwhile unlocks here for all the effort of completing the mode, and I'm super happy about it. And I think that about wraps it up. Road Trip was a great time for me, and I know I'll be doing more runs in the future, trying different challenges and builds to shake it up. I love the general air ride gameplay, so having a City Trial roguelike with tons of fan service sprinkled throughout and a good chunk of fun secrets to discover has just been a fantastic experience for me. One of the best parts is that it isn't an incredibly long experience. You could get through it all in one long play session, but it's designed to be broken up, saved, replayed, taken at your own pace. I love that about Air Riders, and Road Trip keeps that same philosophy and never wants you to be more than a few seconds away from the fun. I really enjoyed completing and talking about Road Trip, and I hope it helped you out and gave you a better idea of what the mode has to offer. I'm gonna head out for now and go work on the other checklist, so I'll see you out there.